What's going on, family? This is Antoine Rivers, the host of the Conviction Fiction podcast. I want to welcome you guys back. This is the place where we break down the mindset behind our mistakes, confront the truth behind our patterns, and try to build a new path rooted in accountability, growth, and purpose. Now, today we're going to talk about something that doesn't get enough attention, not because it's rare, but because it's really uncomfortable. Something that holds more people back than prison bars, more than poverty, more than the system, more than those haters, doubters, or circumstances ever could, would be a lack of effort. That quiet, subtle mindset that whispers, I want a better life, but refuses to do the work. That inner voice that says, I deserve more, while your habits say otherwise. That contradiction between dreaming big and showing up small. And I want to be transparent. I'm not coming from a place of judgment. This episode is born out of the same truth I had to swallow myself. So there was a time when I wanted everything: peace, stability, purpose, a second chance, a family that trusted me, a life that meant something. But my effort didn't match my intentions. I was asking for blessings I wasn't prepared to work for. I was expecting momentum without movement. And that's where a lot of us get stuck. Not because we lack potential, but because we lack effort. Not because we're incapable, but because we're inconsistent. And here's the thing: your life will never rise higher than your effort. And when you understand that, when you embrace that, when you start living that, then everything changes. So if you're ready to get honest, if you're ready to step out of autopilot, if you're ready just to confront the part of you that's been holding your future hostage, then stay with me. This is the Conviction Fiction. All right, again, welcome back to the Conviction Fiction. I'm your host, Antoine Rivers. And that's a dangerous mindset a lot of us carry without even realizing. The belief that wanting something badly is the same thing as working for it. And listen, that mindset doesn't show up loud and obvious. It's pretty subtle. It creeps in through phrases like, I'm trying, or I'm thinking about it, or once things settle down, I'll get to it. But the truth is, wanting a different life and working for a different life are two completely different things. Lack of effort is wanting the results, the stability, the peace, the success, without embracing the uncomfortable work required to get there. It's dreaming big but acting small. It's talking about change more than living actual change, right? So I say this with love because I've lived on the wrong side of that mindset myself. When I came home from prison, like I said, I used to tell myself I wanted to be a better father. I wanted to be successful. I wanted to build something meaningful, and those desires were real. They weren't fake, but what wasn't real was my effort. I wanted the identity without the sweat. You know, it's different to want the transformation without actually going out there grinding for it. And this is what a lot of us get caught up in. This is where our community often gets stuck. We refuse to acknowledge the emotion of wanting change and putting that with the discipline of making change happen. Think about it. Think about this. You want a good job, but you avoid the applications because they feel overwhelming. You want to rebuild some relationships, but you won't make the uncomfortable calls or show consistent effort. You may even want to be financially stable, but every time you start a plan, you break it because it feels like it's moving too slow or it's just inconvenient, right? And those are the things that kind of throw our purpose out of line, because you will put in the daily habits that form your purpose if you really truly want it. Now, nobody's judging. This is human behavior. But the key is the effort. It works sort of as a bridge between where you are and where you say you want to be. That's what effort is. It's like that middle bridge. On one side of the bridge, you got where you are, and on the other side is where you want to be. And right there, smack dab in the middle, is effort. It's the bridge that connects the two. Now, when I sit down with people on the podcast, so many share the same frustration. They say that they know what they're capable of, they know what they want to do, they feel that they're better than where they are. But when I ask, what are you putting behind it? Sometimes the answer gets quiet. But as you know, on this podcast, most of our guests, they have the answers, right? Because they do care, because they know that hoping the desire itself will be enough to shift their circumstances is not the way to go. Desire is the spark, not the engine. Effort is the engine. This is what effort looks like. Showing up early when even when you're tired. Asking questions even when your pride doesn't want you to ask those questions. Doing the unglamorous steps that nobody celebrates. Just being consistent at the small things until they add up to something big. That's where real identity is built or rebuilt. It's every time you push yourself when it's inconvenient, you teach your brain a new story about what's acceptable and the standard that you're setting for yourself. This is one thing I know. The world won't believe in the new you until your effort makes the old you impossible to even recognize. That's what I do know. So if you don't put in the effort, don't expect uh, growth or expect somebody to just show up for you. And because that's honestly the price of growth. The honest to God price of growth is you can't swipe a card for it. You have to invest sweat, focus, and accountability. So before we move on into another segment, I want you to hold on to this key idea. Nothing in your life will change until your effort changes. You can dream it, you can pray for it, you can visualize it, you can put it on a vision board. But until you work for it, it stays exactly what it is, only a thought. Now, I want to talk about the comfort zone trap. Right? When we talk about lack of effort, we're not just talking about laziness. This isn't about being tired or lazy. It isn't about being unmotivated. Most of the people that want to have things in life are motivated, and they aren't even distracted. A lack of effort, in my humble opinion, is choosing comfort over growth, even when comfort is slowly destroying your potential. It's a trap. It's a mental, emotional, and behavioral trap that feels safe but keeps you stuck. It shows up in those quiet moments when you know you should be making a move, but you don't. It shows up when you tell yourself, oh, yeah, I'll start tomorrow, even though you said the same stuff yesterday and the day before that. That trap shows up when the task feels overwhelming, so you avoid it, hoping life will magically organize itself for you, or you'll think somebody else will do it for you. But here's the truth we don't like to admit: comfort is also the enemy of progress. And I get it, for a lot of us who spent years incarcerated, comfort is survival. Predictability means safety, routine meant stability. Doing just enough kept you below the radar. Because in that world, initiative could feel dangerous, risk could almost be reckless. So you come home, but the mindset stays low. On this podcast, this theme comes up over and over again. People talk about wanting more, wanting different, wanting better, but still operating from a place of emotional lockdown. They want freedom, but they stay in that mental cell. They want to elevate, but keep living at ground level. Comfort is definitely one of those traps that you got to get out of. And what's really wild is that comfort doesn't always feel good. Sometimes comfort is chaos you get used to. Sometimes comfort is dysfunctional that feels normal. Just dysfunctional behavior or some type of dysfunction in your life or in the relationships that you have, and it feels normal. Sometimes comfort is a pattern that actually hurts you, but at least you understand it. That's the trap. It's convinced you to believe that this is normal. Comfort doesn't care about your future. It only cares about keeping you the same because you're stagnant. You are in a good place. Lack of effort, to me, is simply, and that's why I came up with this episode. It's coming from the criminal thinking patterns that I studied years ago, and kind of still go back and look at today. Shout out to Dr. Stan Saminoff for trusting me with his book during the time when I was down and out. Um, and this external behavior becomes an internal comfort addiction. Think about it like this: when you hit the gym after a long break, your muscles immediately start bucking. They protest. Your body wants to stop, but that discomfort is the sign that you're actually growing. As soon as you start working out, you get that pain. Those muscles start aching. Right? That's discomfort. That's the proof that you're growing. Meanwhile, staying home on the couch is really comfortable with it, but not one muscle in your life improves from that. Sitting on that couch, don't none of your muscles hurt unless you got a bad back or something like that. But for the most part, if you on that couch, you're not growing. The same is true mentally, financially, spiritually, and emotionally. Growth feels uncomfortable, awkward, unfamiliar, and sometimes it's downright painful. It feels easy and predictable when you're comfortable, but it steals your potential quietly. You don't know how many times I sat in that cell dreaming about who I would become when I got out. I used to talk about, oh man, when I get out, I'm gonna be a better father. I'm gonna be a better man. I'm trying to get me a business. I want to be a voice in the community and not a bane or destroyer of the community. But when I got out, reality hit. My dreams didn't match my effort. I wanted the results, but I was still clinging to comfort. And if we're being honest, comfort was just fear, or it is just the fear of wearing a mask. It's the fear of failing, the fear of looking stupid, the fear of trying and coming up short. Basically, that fear will have you stay in that comfort zone. Just enough effort to say I was trying, not enough to actually change anything, just enough to say I was trying. That's the trap, right? Your comfort zone is familiar to, but it's familiar to you, but it's not your future. And before we move forward, I want you to sit with this. If you only move when it feels comfortable, you will never move far. And that's not judgment, that's freedom. Freedom that I'm trying to give to you, because once you understand the trap, you can step out of the trap. Now, um, your life won't change until you do is basically the theme of this podcast, right? Because we can slow it down and think about it for a moment. That's usually how I start when I'm inside a workshop or gym or reentry meeting. I normally start talking about effort, because effort is not perfection. We're not talking about grinding 24/7. We're not talking about being superhuman. We're talking about showing up for your own life consistently, intentionally, and with purpose. It's all about prioritization. Here's the blunt truth: you cannot coach your way into a better life. You can't pray your way into a better life. You cannot talk your way into a better life. It's going to take effort. Now, I'm a praying man. I believe in speaking things into existence, but prayer without effort is just wishing. Faith without effort is fantasy. I think they even said in one of the sacred texts, like, faith without works is dead. Your life will not change until your effort changes, period. And I had to learn this the hard way. I had those big dreams, big intentions, but small discipline. I wanted the titles like husband, author, father, entrepreneur, coach. But I didn't want the uncomfortable work that came with earning those titles initially. I thought, just my good intentions would carry me. I thought people would just say, oh, look, he's trying. I thought wanting to do better was enough. Okay. So, what can you do if you're in that trap? I guess that's what we're going to talk about. What can you do? Because nothing will kill progress faster than inconsistency. It's like pushing a boulder uphill, and the second you stop, it rolls all the way back down. Life works the same way. One day off becomes 3 days off. And we're not talking about perfection. We're not talking about working 24/7. We're just saying a consistent grind when it comes to your life. And, there are some practical steps to take in order to make your life better. I know that building this platform wasn't easy, but it was all worth it. This conviction fiction platform, it wasn't easy, writing books and stuff. It wouldn't have happened though without me deciding that, hey, no more half-ass effort, no more tomorrow, no more comfort zone. I need to do this today. I need to write it out and follow the plan, stick to the plan. So if you're listening right now and you've been stuck, overwhelmed, discouraged, or unmotivated, this is your reminder. Your breakthrough is hiding behind the effort you've been avoiding. So you don't have to overhaul your whole life today. You just have to work on today. All right. So let's get into the deeper part of like, because reflection is where the real work really happens. Because before you can change your behavior, you got to confront your truth. Not the version you tell other people, not the version you sugarcoat and say, oh, this is what I do, but the version that lives inside of you. A lack of effort doesn't start with, like I said, laziness. It starts with, seeing those blind spots. It starts with the fear or avoiding parts of your life that demand responsibility. So I want to slow the pace down right now and invite you to sit with some uncomfortable questions, the kind that make you shift in your seat, the kind that, stay with you long after the episode ends. You're like, damn, I can't believe Antoine said that today. Not to shame you, not to judge you, but to free you. Because clarity is the first step to effort. All right, let's get into them one by one. First question I would like to ask you is like, where in your life are you expecting results without putting in real effort? Where in your life are you expecting results to happen, but you're not putting in the real effort? Now, this is a heavy one because we all have an area, at least one, where we want change, but refuse to do the work for it. For some of us, it's our relationships. We want closeness with our children, or we want our partner to trust us. We want communication, intimacy, stability, but we don't initiate the hard conversations. We don't show vulnerability. We don't consistently show up. We want a better relationship and we want our spouse or our significant other to trust us, but we go out and stay out all night or don't call or say we'll be right back and don't show up for hours or have other uh, phone numbers in our phone or conversations in our phone that they run up on. For others, it's our finances, right? For others, we want to get out of debt. We want savings. We want to have good credit, but we still swipe that card without a plan. Don't budget. Still tell ourselves next month I'm going to get it together. Some of us even say we want healing, but we won't sit in therapy because of a fear or this stigma around therapy. Maybe we won't journal as our personal therapy because we feel that that's weak or soft. Some say they want purpose, but won't take the first step towards anything. And some want success, and at the first sign of a turn down or a no, they're done. So ask yourself clearly, where are you demanding an outcome that you really haven't earned or fought through with effort? Now write that down, name it, just be honest with yourself. Honesty activates effort. You don't have to share it with me. But if you would like to share it with me, go ahead. Hit me up at the Conviction Fiction Podcast at gmail.com or jump in the comments on YouTube, Instagram, or Facebook. And we'll tackle those things because the only way we can acknowledge how to get better is that if we actually do the work. Avoidance is one of the biggest symptoms of lack of effort. And we justify it with beautiful excuses like, I just need a little bit more time to get this together, Antoine. I don't know. I'll start when I feel ready, but right now I'm just waiting for everything to line up. I don't, I want to take it one day at a time. I don't want to mess nothing up. Well, let me tell you something. I learned years ago, avoidance doesn't protect you. It actually traps you too. It keeps you locked in the same cycle, repeating the same patterns, living that same old tired story. Okay. I came home. I wanted to start a business. I had all the ideas, all the excitement, all the ambition, but I avoided the first step. I didn't want to go do no paperwork. I didn't want to research that. I just wanted a business. I didn't know what to do about licensing. because it felt complicated and overwhelming. I wanted the results, I wanted the business, but the effort, what I needed to do to get that business, intimidated me. And that's what avoidance really is, like fear. It's just fear dressed up. And it's actually procrastination. So ask, what are the tasks for those things? What conversations should you be having? What habits should you form, or responsibilities that you need to do to keep you focused on your goals? What are the tasks are needed to be a successful businessman if that's what you want to do? If you want to own your business, what are some of the tasks that you need to do? Who are some of the what conversations should you be having with certain people about your business? What habits are you going to need? Capital? Are you going to need to raise money? So maybe some spending habits or saving or investing habits need to change. Okay. What responsibilities would you need to do in order to have a business or run your specific business? Those actions will keep you focused, getting off of your butt and on a to-do list that will propel you to success. It will propel you to success because some things will not move until you face them. Some things will not move until you face them. Now, another thing that sometimes happens is that we are around the wrong people. Sometimes, we have to think about the effort that we have to do. But we have people that are dragging us down. And that's what I want to talk about now is being able to form the right relationships with people that can propel you to success, that will motivate you and not discourage you or not distract you from reaching your highest potential. Right. I talked about how I didn't want to get into the licensing and figuring out how to run the business. Actually, I just wanted a business. I just wanted the title. Right. So, but I also had to ask myself this question. I had to ask myself, who in my life deserves more effort from me? And what would that look like? Who in my life deserves more effort from me? And what would that look like? Now that question cuts into the heart, right? We love our people, we care about them, we talk about them with pride, but sometimes we don't put in the consistent effort they deserve. Sometimes we don't. Your kids deserve consistency. Your partner deserves intentional communication. Your parents deserve honor. Your friends deserve that same thing that you give them. But we can't forget it. Your community deserves your presence also. Sometimes the people who need your effort the most are the ones you've unintentionally neglected. The ones that we need to be given the attention to and the effort to, we don't give it to them. We give it to people that don't mean us no good. Effort is love you can see, right? Now ask yourself, who have I been taking for granted? Who do I assume will always be there, even though I give them only crumbs of my attention? Right? Um, you can apologize all day verbally, but never following through with change behavior, that's a no-no. Sometimes the effort those people need isn't big. It's noticing them, just listening more, slowing down, checking in, building healthier habits, or just showing up when you say you will show up. Effort is how relationships breathe. Right. So those are just some of the questions, and we can talk about that more on other podcasts, but it's also in the book, No Turning Back. That's the second in a series of book, but the new one, Turning Forward, definitely a must read because it has the exercises where you can go in and work through the answers to some of these questions that I'm asking today. Right. Is very important, because the truth is transformation doesn't start with a life overall, or a life overhaul. I mean to say, it starts with an intentional shift, and turning forward is one of those shifts for many people. I appreciate the support that I've been getting for the book so far, and to hear that it is actually helping to change one life or another definitely makes it worth it. I do want to also shout out that this Friday, Black Friday, we're in that holiday season, Black Friday. The books on Amazon will be 25% off. So be sure to go grab a couple of copies because it's only going to be for a limited time. Okay. All right. So when you're talking about effort, and when you increase effort in one area, everything else kind of begins to move because the momentum multiplies. Um, just waking up earlier, exercising consistently, you know, finishing a job application or studying a trade. Or, you know, his finances, what's wrong with saving $20 a week? That's big. Now, at the end of the day, the truth about effort and who you become is all on you. Let me close it out by talking directly to you, not with steps, not with an assignment, not with a worksheet, but it's a real conversation between two people who know what it feels like to want better and struggle to match the effort. I've learned through my own process, through my reentry, through raising kids after years away, or just being a part of their lives, through building a business from scratch, restarting my life. Effort was the hinge everything swung on. Not talent, not luck, not who you know. It's effort. And lack of effort is rarely about you not wanting to do it. It's usually about fear. It's usually because you fear you're going to fail or you're not going to succeed. You might even fear of succeeding. You might fear succeeding. You might fear success, right? Um, you can also have that fear of just stepping out into the version of yourself that your past told you was impossible. You know, I can remember growing up on the streets of Atlanta here. If you went to work and you had a job or you owned a business, you was a square. You weren't looked up to like that for real. And to be honest with you guys, sometimes lack of effort comes from exhaustion. Not physical exhaustion, but emotional exhaustion. When you lived in chaos, trauma, been in survival mode and experienced disappointment, setback after setback, your brain builds a protective barrier around you that says, hey, don't try too hard. Don't expect too much. Don't, go out of your way. You just need to stay safe. And that mindset might have protected you at one point, but now it's actually suffocating you. So think about that. Every major breakthrough in your life, every good relationship, every second chance, every step forward came from someone's effort, yours or somebody else's. It's going to be the blueprint of your new identity. You become what you repeatedly work towards. You become what you consistently choose to do. And sometimes people, they're going to lie to themselves saying, I'm trying. But trying is an effort. Trying is a statement of intention. Effort is execution. Trying is a feeling. Effort is a lifestyle. So you can sit there and say, I'm trying all the time, but I'm telling you, it's only temporary if you're trying because you can't stop trying. Now, your effort and what are you doing? Those measurable steps that you're taking, that's where the transformation is going to come. Okay? Now, I had to learn that no one was going to save me. Nobody's going to rebuild my relationships for me. No one was going to restore my reputation. No one was going to create my opportunities or heal my wounds. Effort. I can say that effort was that vehicle I had to drive myself. And that's how powerful it is because it revealed a lot about your character more than anything else. It's going to tell the truth about what you value, expose your priorities, and shows what you've chosen to chase. It's visible even when the results aren't as visible. Um, I told you about wanting the title of better this, better that, business owner, author, father. I was asking life to give me full results off of part-time energy. And the reason I'm telling you this is because someone listening right now is in that exact place. You're frustrated with your life, not because you're incapable, but because your effort doesn't match your expectation. The good news is effort is something that you can control. You don't need permission. You don't need a clean past or a perfect plan. You don't need to hear people clapping for you or even validation. All you need is a willingness to show up, even inconsistent or imperfectly at first. When you're still trying to figure things out, just show up because effort compounds. It's going to build. It's going to become that new identity. And I promise you this, once you start giving effort to the parts of your life that matter, I'm talking about real effort, not half-ass effort. Everything around you will begin to shift. Your confidence, your mindset, your relationships, your opportunities, all of that will be a direct result of your real effort. Okay. Something incredible happens when you finally decide I'm done playing with uh my potential. I'm stopping this. What was the Ti song a long time ago? Like big small things popping, big things popping. What was that song? Little things stopping, big things popping, something like that, right? That's the effort. You got to decide, like, I'm gonna stop doing that small shit. And I'm gonna start focusing on what's important. It's gonna become the anchor of your new lifestyle, right? Because I ain't gonna tell you this. This is I'm gonna give you a nugget. They don't tell you this. Effort just doesn't change your life. It changes the way you see yourself. You're gonna rewrite your internal story and give yourself the momentum you've never had. You got to create that new future that you can trust in. So as you take this episode with you, as you reflect or sit with your truth later tonight or tomorrow morning, I want you to remember this one thing. Your life rises or falls to the level of your effort, not your intentions or dreams or your potential or what you thought it's supposed to be. It's going to rise or fall by your effort. You're not broken. You're not behind. You're not incapable. You simply haven't turned the key on to focus in on effort and the requirement that it has for the life you say you want. But you can. And when you do, everything changes. This is Antoine Rivers. I want to thank you for joining me on this episode of the Conviction Fiction Podcast. Please look forward to more episodes that's going to deal with the real work behind reentry and being a success out here after whatever you've been through. Um, Again, thanks again. Oh, don't forget, go buy those books. Happy holidays, everyone.